We have a Starship launch date estimate from Elon Musk that aligns perfectly with our prediction. The Starship transport ring for static fires is getting ready, gigantic gravitational waves passing by Earth, sneaky gas giants, and a hand-colored image of Mars that changed the world. The perfect seasoning. Firefly Aerospace is about to take the next step, welcome back Axiom 4 astronauts, and SpaceX is hiring AI engineers. My name is Felix, welcome to What About It, let's dive right in. Firefly Aerospace is going public. The company officially filed its S1 with the SEC last Friday, signaling plans to launch an IPO later this year under the ticker symbol FLY. The S1 is a required document that lays out a company's finances and risks before it can go public. While they haven't disclosed how many shares will be offered or at what price, this marks the beginning of Firefly's move into the public markets, and it comes at a critical moment. On paper, Firefly is a company in flux. It is riding a wave of recent milestones, including a historic commercial moon landing, and revenue is growing fast. The company pulled in nearly $56 million in the first quarter of this year, compared to just over $8 million during the same period in 2024. Most of that came from its Blue Ghost lunar lander program, with only $5 million from rocket launches. But space hardware is expensive. Firefly posted a net loss of over $231 million for 2024. In the first quarter alone, the company spent nearly as much as it earned, ending up with just $2.2 million in gross profit. It also carries a heavy debt load of $173 million, including a high-interest loan that the company plans to partially pay off using IPO proceeds. To be fair, this is normal for an emerging company. The point of net revenue comes later. Firefly is pitching a growth story. It now has a $1.1 billion backlog of launch and lander contracts, nearly double from a year ago. That includes up to 25 launches booked with Lockheed Martin, a major partnership with Northrop Grumman, to build a reusable launch vehicle called Eclipse. It also includes the upcoming commercial debut of Elytra, its in-space transportation platform. Firefly also plans to operate as a controlled company under NASDAQ rules. This will allow its private equity owner, AE Industrial Partners, to retain governance control after the IPO. That's a good thing. In a broader sense, Firefly's filing marks one of the few traditional IPO attempts in the space industry. Public investors will now get a front row seat to one of the most ambitious hardware builders in the sector. Whether Firefly can sustain momentum while burning through cash is the question that matters. Have fun investing. On we go with SpaceX. The fourth private mission to the International Space Station has officially wrapped. Axiom 4 returned safely to Earth after spending just over 2 weeks in orbit, making the latest milestone in the company's ongoing push to commercialize access to low Earth orbit. This marks the conclusion of Axiom Space's fourth crewed mission, flown aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon. The team of 4 astronauts, including both experienced professionals and private mission specialists, launched from Florida, docked with the ISS, conducted research and outreach activities, and has now safely splashed down. And why does it matter? Axiom is one of the few companies directly laying the groundwork for a future where space stations are privately owned and operated. Each of these missions helps validate procedures, crew integration, and long-duration operations in a mixed commercial and government environment. Axiom 4 followed a smooth schedule, demonstrating that missions like these are becoming more routine. This is an important step as NASA plans to retire the ISS and shift operations to commercial platforms like the ones Axiom is building by the 2030s. And in the bigger picture, Axiom is doing more than just flying people and private citizens. It's using these missions to prototype life support systems, test new station modules, and prepare for building Axiom Station. Yes! Every splashdown brings the future a little closer. Scientists have detected the most massive black hole merger ever observed, and it might rewrite parts of what we thought we knew about the universe. The event was picked up last November by the global gravitational wave network LIGO Virgo Cagra. It's a trio of ultra-sensitive detectors based in the US, Italy, and Japan. These instruments don't see black holes directly. Instead, they listen for subtle ripples in space-time caused by massive cosmic events. A gravitational wave, a very new and incredibly fascinating field of research, and this one was enormous. Two black holes, one around 100 times the mass of our Sun and the other 140 times, collided with such force that they created a single spinning black hole 225 times the mass of the Sun. The missing mass was converted into pure energy, radiating outward in gravitational waves that traveled for billions of years before reaching Earth. 15 times the mass of our Sun lost as pure energy. These numbers are mind-boggling. I am happy to report that we're 6.4 billion light years away and in the future from where this happened. These waves traveled to us for around half the age of our universe, if these numbers are correct, of course. Before this, the largest black hole formed in a merger and detected by instruments sensing gravitational waves was just 140 solar masses. So this new record-breaking event isn't just a bigger data point. It is a potential anomaly that challenges our understanding of how black holes form. That is because under standard stellar evolution models, black holes this massive should not exist. One theory is that both black holes were the result of earlier mergers, stacking mass over time in dense cosmic environments. Another twist is that one of the black holes may have been spinning as fast as Einstein's equations allow, a detail that makes the signal incredibly difficult to model and interpret. For the LVK team, this detection pushes their tools to the edge. Since LIGO's first detection in 2015, the global network has recorded over 300 wave detections, including more than 200 in its most recent observation run. But GW231123 stands out as a test case for both our instruments and our physics. It was formally presented this week at an international gravitational wave conference in Glasgow, Scotland. The team says it could take years to fully unravel what this signal is telling us, but there is a good chance it is a textbook black hole merger. Some researchers are leaving the door open to consider more complex scenarios though. Ever since we moved to the US, drinking water has been complicated. At first it was the chlorine we could literally not stomach. Now, living on our beautiful new property with its own well, our water isn't exactly pure. High iron, sulfur, and worst of all, forever chemicals. Those chemicals that don't break down and build up in our bodies, possibly harming brain development, immunity, and growth in children, and linked to fertility issues and hormone disruption in adults. Great! We started hauling water bottles and fridge jugs back and forth just to get clean drinking water. The thought of microplastics swimming around in every bottle didn't sit right with us either, especially for a family of 5 and all the friends we're visiting. After testing different filters that barely scratched the surface of the problem, we finally found something that actually works: Cove Pure. This is not your average filter. It is a 4-stage reverse osmosis system powered by clear wave technology, removing up to 99.9% of harmful contaminants, including lead, arsenic, PFAs, even pharmaceutical residues. This is the same filtration tech astronauts use on the ISS. And when science approves of something at that level, I trust it enough to give it to my kids. We use it every day for cooking, filling up our water bottles, and just drinking straight from the glass. With a smart touchscreen for instant temperature control, real-time water quality monitoring, and simple plug and play. Look at that. We enjoy our hot tea and hot cocoa with one push of a button. If you want to stop worrying about what's in your sink water and start trusting what you drink, go to covepure.com/whataboutit to get $200 off. That is covepure.com/whataboutit. There's water coming out of there. Astronomers have uncovered a giant exoplanet hiding in plain sight. It is buried in the dust protoplanetary disk of a young star about 280 light years away. So not at all that far away. The star, named MP Mus, I did not name it, is only about 13 million years old and surrounded by a swirling cloud of gas and dust. An accretion disk, the kind of disk where planets are born in a young star system. Earlier observations showed no signs of structure, making the disk appear flat and uneventful. But a new deep dive using data from the ALMA Radio Observatory and the European Gaia mission revealed something completely different. What the team found was a true giant. a gas planet estimated to be between 3 and 10 times the mass of Jupiter, orbiting MP-MUSS at a distance of 1 to 3 astronomical units. So 1 to 3 times the distance from Earth to the Sun. 13 times the mass of Jupiter is needed to start deuterium fusion, the biggest difference between a planet and a brown dwarf. This is the first time Gaia has helped spot a planet inside a protoplanetary disk. It is only the 4th time such a planet has been identified at all. Incredibly interesting. The discovery happened in 2 parts. ALMA's longer wavelength observations revealed cavities in the disk. These are gaps that are usually carved out by forming planets. At the same time, Gaia data showed the star itself was wobbling slightly, a gravitational clue that something massive was tugging on it. When the researchers combined these 2 pieces of evidence, the picture snapped into place. The wobble matched the kind of pull expected from a massive planet forming within the innermost gap of the disk. Modeling confirmed that a single large planet could explain both the structure in the disk and the motion of the star. What makes this find so significant is that it shows how young gas giants can remain completely hidden even when astronomers are looking directly at the places where planets should be forming. Again, proof that we still have so much to learn about everything out there. Protoplanetary disks are thick with dust and gas which scatter light and make it hard to spot anything directly. It's like watching a Falcon 9 launch in Vandenberg, if you know what I mean. That is why combining precise star tracking with deep radio observations proved so crucial. It also points toward a deeper question: how many other young planets are we missing? As telescope capabilities improve and more data like this becomes available, astronomers may be able to uncover a whole hidden population of giant planets still in the process of forming. The findings were published and offer a promising path forward in the hunt for early exoplanets. And maybe it even offers clues about how our own solar system took shape billions of years ago. Before we continue with Starship news, here is something you can do to help ensure that we can keep reporting these things. Hit the subscribe button to stay informed, like this video if it brought you value, and become a wise supporter for extra content. Secure your access to up to 7 picture galleries per week, satellite, helicopter and ground photos and 3D animations, chat with me and gain more insights on the topic you love. The entire team is waiting for you, you rock! Now let's hop over to Starbase. If you had any doubts about Starbase being stuck in the mud with Starship flight testing, put them to rest. SpaceX now has special temporary authority applications in motion for 2 key radio frequencies tied to both Flight 10 and 11. The FCC recently approved the permit for Flight 10 targeting no earlier than August 4th. That brings the launch schedule for the remaining Block 2 Starships back into focus. Elon Musk also posted the estimate on X, so there is almost no doubt anymore that what we've been reporting for weeks is where it's going. When we get this calendar animation out, any Y viewer knows it is getting serious. Let's lock in August 4th for now. We are getting closer, less than 3 weeks for Flight 10. I'm getting anxious. On top of that, for Flight 11, the application covers a data range that is set to open on September 1st, 2025. The SDA updates antenna coordinates on South Padre Island and allows for stronger signal output to support critical launch vehicle communications during Starship test flights. And in the broader context, this filing sends a strong signal that SpaceX is preparing for the last Block 2 ships. The crew at Starbase has been working very hard to get these last 2 Block 2 Starships tested, and we can now see a viable window where that can happen. Good, we want Block 3, and when do we want it? Yesterday! What do you think? How will Flight 10 go? Put your wildest predictions in the comments. The ship transport stand, which will now be used as a makeshift static fire stand, has been receiving steel walls to fill the gaps of the open-walled stand ahead of its testing. The ring will be used as an adapter to hold ships 37 and 38 for engine testing on top of Pad 1, while Massey's continues to undergo refurbishment and repairs. SpaceX has made lightning-fast adjustments following the incident with Ship 36 over a month ago. In typical SpaceX fashion, instead of waiting months to conduct any new testing at a repaired Massey's, SpaceX has found a workaround at the launch site instead. Chop chop, my friends! Ship 37 has already received its engines, so testing isn't far away. A move of the STS ring onto the launch table itself will be the ultimate sign that the static fire is imminent. Welcome to Massey's, SpaceX's Starship test site at Starbase. Progress is visible everywhere after the Ship 36 explosion last month. 2 of the heavily damaged vertical methane ground support tanks were removed recently, and NSF seems to have captured them arriving at the McGregor test facility. The explosion of Ship 36 was massive, and many pieces of equipment were damaged beyond repair. That's prompting SpaceX to make wholesale replacements to large networks of pipes and other areas of the site. Could these tanks potentially be reused in the future? We've seen the LR1300 crane hard at work at the site in recent days, seemingly rotating existing tanks to face away from the potential blast zone. Seems smart. Is SpaceX really repeating the vertical tank scenario of the original Pad 1 layout here? Having your tanks positioned next to a test site in the correct arrangement. A lesson learned and learned. It's been just about a month since the incident happened, but SpaceX is well on its way to making the site operational again soon. Do you want to see amazingly cool things like this from the air with your own eyes? Check out redlineheli.com/Felix for a once-in-a-lifetime experience and $25 off flying in a helicopter above Starbase. The Redline helicopter team is waiting for you. They'll show you the same views our photographer gets on his Starbase flights. Give it a try. 10 years ago today, a spacecraft called New Horizons changed our understanding of the outer solar system forever. On July 14, 2015, after traveling more than 9 years and crossing 3 billion miles, it flew past Pluto and gave humanity its first ever close-up look at this distant dwarf planet. What it found was far more dramatic than anyone expected. Pluto turned out to be a world of tall mountains, icy volcanoes, and sweeping plains. Even if tiny, Pluto is special and it loves us. Take that, dwarf planet crowd. One of the most striking discoveries was a massive heart-shaped region made of frozen nitrogen that stretches across its surface. This feature alone transformed Pluto from a blurry dot into a place full of personality. The images also showed red mountain ranges set against bright, snowy terrain, painting a landscape that looked more Earth-like than anyone had imagined. New Horizons did way more than just give us pictures of Pluto. It helped uncover the unique relationship between Pluto and its largest moon, Charon. The two worlds are tidally locked, meaning the same face of Pluto always looks at Charon and vice versa. The moon is tidally locked, meaning it faces Pluto with the same side all the time. Same as Earth and our moon, but Pluto goes the extra mile. As Charon is locked to Pluto, Pluto is also tidally locked to Charon. Both face each other with the same side at all times. One side of Charon even appears to have stolen some of Pluto's escaping atmosphere, forming a reddish polar stain near its north pole. 2 years after the flyby, NASA released an anniversary video that let viewers soar over Pluto and its moon as if they were flying alongside the probe. That legacy has only grown as New Horizons continued its journey beyond Pluto, later passing a distant object called Ultima Thule and now transmitting from 60 astronomical units away. It's a reminder of just how far a single mission can go. It's measured not just in distance, but in how deeply it reshapes what we thought we knew about the farthest corners of our solar system. Now let's talk about Starship's prime destination and about a hand-colored image that gave us our first glimpse at another world. For much of the 20th century, Mars wasn't just a planet. It was a mirror for our imagination and a destination to pin our science fiction hopes and dreams. And that hasn't changed. Astronomers like Percival Lowell believed the red planet was not only habitable but actually inhabited by life forms. He described networks of canals constructed by intelligent Martians to carry water from the polar caps to the equator. And for decades, even serious scientists and space thinkers saw Mars as a colder, fainter version of Earth. It was maybe dry, maybe harsh, but possibly home to life. That illusion ended on July 14, 1965, just over 60 years ago. A small spacecraft called Mariner 4 flew past Mars at a distance of just over 6,000 miles, becoming the first probe to capture close-up images of the red planet's surface. What it revealed was stark. The Martian surface was cold, cratered, and dry. It was far less like Earth and more like the moon. There were no canals, no vegetation, and no cities in the dust. The mission was led by a pioneering team at Caltech and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. At the time, interplanetary spaceflight was still in its infancy. Mariner 4's predecessor, Mariner 3, had failed shortly after launch. The Deep Space Network, which we use to communicate with distant probes, didn't exist yet. And the spacecraft's crewed star trekker struggled for days before finally locking onto the guide star Canopus. Even the idea of bringing a camera was met with controversy. Some on the team thought it was unnecessary. What? I can't even imagine not taking a camera to Mars. Ultimately, the team decided to use one. Well, good on you. When Mariner 4's images finally arrived at JPL, the team couldn't wait for a full digital render. They literally colored in data by hand using grease pencils on a numbered paper printout. The result was the first human-made image of the surface of another planet. It is crazy how primitive that sounds. That picture marked a turning point in planetary science. The atmosphere was thinner than anyone expected at just 1,000th the pressure of Earth. But for the scientists who pulled it off, it was a triumph. The spacecraft had traveled over 300 million miles, returning real science from a world we had only ventured to in our imagination. After the flyby, Mariner 4 continued sending data back for 2 more years before finally going silent in 1967. In the decades since, dozens of missions have followed. Viking, Pathfinder, Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity, Perseverance, and Ingenuity, and a few more. We now know Mars once had water, volcanoes, and perhaps even the conditions for life, but it took a brutal reset in 1965 to start asking the right questions. The dream of Mars didn't die with Mariner 4, it gained new life. What began as a fantasy about alien civilizations became a real story about geology, atmosphere, and time. Today, as we prepare to send humans, the spirit of that mission still echoes in many ways. From hand-colored images to cutting-edge research, SpaceX is building a new AI team to work on its launch vehicles and spacecraft. A recent job listing reveals they are hiring AI software engineers to help solve complex data problems tied to everything from avionics and flight data to testing and mission logistics. The position is part of a broader move to integrate artificial intelligence directly into the engineering workflows that support Falcon, Starship, and the company's satellite operations. So what is this exactly? It's a foundational role on a newly formed AI team. And it is focused not on chatbots or general-purpose models, but on applying large language models, retrieval systems, and machine learning tools to actual engineering challenges. I'm currently working on a video about AI in spaceflight. This ties in perfectly. AI will be utilized to accelerate testing, extract knowledge from flight data, and aid hardware teams in designing and validating components more efficiently. And why does it matter? Because the scale of SpaceX's ambition is reaching a point where human iteration alone is not fast enough. They are building the world's largest rocket, deploying thousands of satellites, and planning Mars missions. AI offers a way to break through those bottlenecks. What's different is how this team will work alongside hardware engineers. That includes training internal models on proprietary SpaceX data, designing custom tools, and potentially creating self-improving systems that learn from every launch, test, and anomaly. And in the bigger picture, this is about making SpaceX's machines and engineers faster, more adaptive, and able to operate at the edge of what's possible. The long-term vision is clear. AI will not just support rocket development, it will help enable human life on Mars and beyond. That's it for today. Smash that like button, subscribe for more. This is what fuels the algorithm, and this is how you can help us for free. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. Lots of designs by me and other spaceflight artists. And if you want to learn more about the craziest ways to get to space while not using a rocket, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. This video next to continue your gravitation.